In this episode, I award Luffy the badge of piracy. He tricks a man into giving him free food and then walks off laughing.
Welcome to the journey. Welcome to the crew. We think we're pretty funny, and we hope that you will too. This is the opening song to season 2. It's where the journey really starts because we've made it out of East Blue. We've got our snacks and we've got our friends. Now it's time to discuss the anime that never ends. Yeah! Start the show!
Hello, fellow adventurers of the Grand Line, and welcome to episode 36 of King of the What Now?
What now?
Visible by 9, and 4, and 6. That's incredible. And 18.
So many good numbers.
Yeah.
And 3.
Oh yeah, and 12. Okay.
And one, Joel.
Curtis, look at me. 1 is a garbage number. It's the loneliest number. Everybody hates it. Joel, who are you today?
Well, I mean, first off, I am Joel, and I'm a longtime fan of... Oh, this is a podcast about One Piece, by the way.
What?
Yeah.
It's not about numbers?
It's not about numbers. It's not about Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, available now on Hulu. It's not about other podcasts. It's not a show where we discuss podcasts that we listen to. Okay, no, this is episode 36 of King of the What Now, an anime where we discuss One Piece. I'm your host, Joel. I'm a longtime fan of One Piece, and I am a sexy dancer girl out in Alabasta, out in the desert country.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's right. I'm Curtis. Hello, everyone. I'm a newbie. Am I still a newbie if we're 90-something episodes in?
Yeah, I think you're still a newbie, because you've only been watching the show for less than a year.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a newbie. Also, I am the sacred animal of Alabasta, the sea cat.
And I'm Kat, ghost of the show, and a camel who's just that cool.
Fantastic. Okay, so we just finished watching episodes 90, 91, 92, 93. That is the last 2 episodes of Drum Kingdom, and then the first 2 episodes of the Alabasta arc. They've actually now officially landed in Alabasta. Woo!
Yay!
Whoop, sand.
Yeah, there's lots of sand everywhere, and we only have another 11 episodes of the podcast to do before we'll get to it. But don't worry, one of those will be covering specials.
That wasn't actual sand?
11 episodes to get to the end of the Alabasta saga.
Oh my god.
Thank you for keeping
Joel,
me honest.
Yeah, the look Joel gave me.
Can you describe it for our listeners who can't see his face?
And me as well. I don't know what my face looks like right now.
Okay, well, you've got 2 eyes, a nose, and I'm sorry. I can't stop it. No, it was like...
Can we just go on record as saying that Curtis ate the sass fruit? I know that you...
He's a sass man. I'm a sass man.
Folks, I was going to mention that this is going to be a shorter episode, but given the hilarious antics that my co-hosts want to get into, I don't know if that's actually true.
Let's just get into it then.
Yeah, just go straight into the summary. Don't worry about the look. Sometime one of you will take a picture of me giving you the look, and we can upload it.
It's like basically the if looks could kill, or, like staring daggers, nuclear launch codes. I saw them flash through your eyes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Awful lot of 7s in there for some reason.
Yeah. It's a very bad codes, actually.
So, summary.
Yes, summary. They left Drum Island. They sailed. Stuff happened. They got to Alabasta. Some more stuff happened. That's the summary.
Woo!
He finally did it, folks. A succinct summary. Joel, was that succinct?
In this episode, I award Curtis the badge of glossing over important details for giving such a succinct summary and glossing over such important details.
Okay.
So, to be fair, the last 2 episodes of Drum Island really are something that should be seen and experienced rather than... dissected word for word, line for line, Freya turned to the left. They left, Chopper joined them, surprising no one. He's been a member of the crew for 10 years, and there was some great Hero Luck Kureha stuff in there.
Yeah, there really was. Does one of you want to give, a major standout moment from each of the episodes we watched?
I'm going to let Curtis pick which moments that stood out the most to him.
Okay, well, first of all, because we had 2 on Drum Island, so I got to break those out. Okay, the first one is the cherry blossom. So Kreha chases Chopper out using the same tactic that Hiraluk tried to, except instead of a gun, she throws spears and maces and
axes.
Yeah. He's leaving, and when he leaves, she fulfills Hiraluk's dream, and what it ends up being is the thing he figured out how to do is he made this powder that attaches to the snow, so she shoots it up in cannons and attaches to the snow falling and makes them look like cherry blossom petals, right? The flakes turn pink, and the shape of it makes it look like the mountain look like a giant cherry blossom tree. So then Chopper's crying, and then the second one, what happens in this? They leave the island?
Yeah, I actually don't remember a whole lot. That's the episode where they give us the explanation of how Baroque Works is set up, about the billions and the millions and the different officer agents.
Was that episode or the third one we watched?
I think that was the second one. I don't know.
Okay, so somewhere in between there, they gave us a lengthy explanation of Baroque Works.
Yeah.
We also got a flashback of when... Oh, you know what? That was that episode.
Okay.
So the second episode, the final episode of Drum Island, we got a flashback from Dalton's point of view that shows when he traveled, not to Alabasta, wherever there was a meeting of the world
Mary
leaders.
Joy is the name of it. It's the Holy Land and the capital of the world government. I don't think that they told you that in so many words. They did say Marie Joy on the screen. And they went to a monarch meeting, which I believe was mentioned a couple of episodes ago. But just so you know, I don't know if they said it explicitly, but it's called Reverie, and it's every 4 years, the kings of all the nations get together and they discuss all of the problems that are facing the world today. So we get a flashback from, I think it was 4 years ago, of Dalton going with Wapple and Kuro Marimo and Chess to this place, and they also run into Higaram? Is that his name?
Igaram.
I put an H in there where there wasn't one. Igaram and King Cobra, which is such a great name, and Princess Vivi, and she was like 10.
King Cobra! I just got it.
King Cobra sounds like it should be the name of a Donkey Kong villain.
Yes. Well, and also it sounds like he should be the villain, even though right now the story is indicating that he's a good guy.
I mean, Cobra versus Crocodile, who's the more villainous sounding to you?
Okay, crocodiles, because we know that they're nature's sociopath.
I love them.
So
I'm not going to get into a tangent on crocodiles. What were you going to say, Curtis?
Crocodile might be evil, but King Cobra is going to sweep the leg.
All right.
Reference joke.
The only other major standout moment for me from the Drum Island episodes was Kureha looked at the camera and she said, "Have you ever heard of Goldie Roger?" And Dalton went, "Do you mean Gold Roger?" And she went, "Is that what he's calling himself now?" And I'm sure we'll go into more detail about that. But that was a standout moment. The other 2 episodes we watched, 3 standout moments.
So I would say that the standout moment for me from the Drum Island stuff was it's Dalton talking to Dr. Kureha saying, "Is that the best way to have seen Chopper off, throwing knives and axes at him?" And she goes, "Well, it's not that big of a deal. But I'm glad to see him go," and the camera zooms up and she has a single tear. As I've described before, Dr. Kureha is a good person, but a lot of the time she hides that behind a mask, and so I really appreciated that mask coming down. I appreciated the flashbacks of Dr. Hiraluk, just kind of in summary, in case you didn't already know that this guy is the best freaking dad that this show has produced. I don't always react to things the way that I'm supposed to. If something is sad, I don't always necessarily feel sad, if that makes sense. I can recognize, oh, this scene is sad. But Dr. Hiraluk's passing and the way that they kind of recapped it and his relationship with Chopper really is the most beautiful thing, and it almost got me to tears. Not quite, though. Oda, you're going to have to try just a little bit harder.
So, do you mind if we just keep going through and highlighting moments?
No, I think this is a great format.
Okay. Another one. So, it's not that it's important to the episode, but it's something that specifically I want to talk about. So, they run into Mr. 2. Things happen, and Mr. 2 ends up on their ship, and nobody realizes that they're actually adversaries, so they actually have a pretty decent time. And Mr. 2 is showing off his devil fruit power.
The copy fruit.
Is it copy or clone?
Clone. I think certain translations will do it as copy, but I think you're right that the version we saw was clone.
I guess, yeah, it probably doesn't matter anyways. So what he does is he touches people with his right hand.
Yep. And
he gains the memory basically of their face and body.
Of their body, yep.
And when he touches his face with his right hand, he can use any of the ones that he has stored up and become a clone of them. And if he wants to change back, he touches his face with his left hand and he goes back to normal.
And to note, this is a true clone where it's the same physical body, the vocal cords change so he can mimic their voice perfectly. However, I don't know if he said this explicitly, but he doesn't get their memories or anything like that. He doesn't know that Luffy wants to become the king of the pirates, for example.
Yeah. So I have a question for you, Joel, and you don't have to answer this because I think it'll probably be spoilers, but I guess I want to put my theory out there.
Sure.
I think each hand records a different set of faces, and that if so his left hand, all he has recorded in it is his face, or whatever face he uses as his face now, because maybe he's unable to go back to his original face.
Okay.
And I wonder if it would be possible for him to lose that.
His original form.
Like if he started storing up on his left hand too, like it would be like very difficult for him to ever get back to his original look.
I like it. Reminds me of Envy from Full Metal Alchemist, who straight up says in their final fight, that they don't even remember what they originally looked like. That is not explicitly brought up. It's an interesting theory.
I just thought it was interesting that he had to touch people with his right hand, and he had to use his right hand to
change himself.
And that is I mean, it might just be that those are the mechanics of it too. Like he can't store anyone else up on his left hand. That's just his reset button. Okay. But I don't know. I thought it was an interesting idea.
I really like that idea. Very, very minor spoiler. We do meet characters later whose powers are, I do this thing with my right hand, and I do this thing with my left hand. So I think it's just an easy limitation to put on the character, an easy way to explain how their powers work.
What if his inability to use his right hand to record, or his left hand to record faces, now I'm getting all confused about which direction is which. What if that's a mental limitation? What if devil fruit powers are physical too? That's a reference joke. And so maybe he can do a training montage, and then eventually he'll be able to transform not only with his hands, but with feet. And maybe he'll learn how to be able to copy just half of a person's body on his upper half and the lower. Could you imagine Sanji's legs, but Zoro's sword arms, and Luffy's face? I don't know why Luffy's face.
Joel.
What?
If Zoro uploaded pictures of his arms to a website that catered to people who really liked swordsmen, that would be Sword Arms Online.
That was the exact length of a walk to a good drink of water.
Very good.
Okay.
Well, what if somebody cuts off his right hand? Or what if they cut off his left hand? Can he never change back?
Ooh.
That's a really good question. I don't think people lose limbs in this series.
Seems like a question for an SBS.
Yes. We should write to Oda and ask him. I have a question for you. So he is on the ship. He doesn't meet Sanji for whatever reason. They actually explicitly point out in these episodes that Sanji has not run into most of the main agents. Number 5, Mr. 5, Mr. 3, Mr. 2, all of them missed Sanji. None of them saw Sanji. But anyways, so he runs into the Straw Hats. He runs into Luffy, Chopper, Usopp, Zoro, Nami. He copies all of them and he switches through all of them. Do you think that his ability allows him to mimic animals? Or do you think that he can only mimic Chopper because Chopper is himself part human now because of his fruit abilities?
Oh, probably that.
Okay.
I think that's probably it. But I mean, we'd have to wait and find out.
Yeah, read and find out or watch and find out. Maybe that'll happen later.
So Bon Clay said, I never miss a chance to jump on a duck, right?
Okay.
So maybe he can turn into animals, but he refuses to turn into an animal that's not a duck.
That could
Like,
be
maybe
it.
ducks are his
Spirit
fursona.
animal?
Yo,
How his persona? That would, if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. You'd think that his persona would be a swan, because if there's one character who's been associated with an animal so far in the series, it would probably be him.
But Joel.
Yeah.
Before it can be a swan, it must be an
ugly duckling. Oh my god, it comes full circle.
Real quick. Bon
No.
Clay, Mr. 2, same person.
Same person. His name is on his jacket. It clearly says Bon Clay on it, and it's just, yes.
Sorry, when I said no, Curtis said real quick. I was going to say no real slow, but he just ignored me, which was the right move.
I've got a question. That would be really fun for our listeners. They would appreciate that joke if it went on for longer than a couple of seconds.
On this
No,
episode.
hang on. Okay, I'm cutting it. No. There are certain jokes that I will abide, and there's some that just make me want to... Are you okay?
Yeah, I tried drinking some water and that didn't help. I figured since you were cutting this anyway, I didn't have to get
What do
up.
you mean cutting it?
You said no, I'm cutting this, I won't abide.
Yeah, but it's gonna leave it in anyways. That's like it was in the bingo sheet, remember?
When I say I'm cutting this, I mean I'm cutting this short. I'm gonna stop the joke from going on for too long.
Okay, I'm done coughing on mic, I apologize.
No, goodness gracious.
Crap. Were we talking about something else? We talked
Mr.
about
2, we were
Yeah.
talking about the ability to turn into a duck, his fursona.
Yeah. And then the Sanji thing.
Okay.
I have two theories.
Okay.
I'm gonna start with the more plausible one and then move on to the more radical one.
Okay. Sanji is actually Mr. 1 confirmed. Go on.
Plausible one. A lot of the Brokeworks members have eaten at his restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Even though it's not on the Grand Line, but we're gonna ignore that fact. 2, he is somehow secretly connected to Brokeworks, and that is why he dresses the way he does. I mean, it's not as like
Flamboyant.
yeah,
Sure.
but he's classy.
No, I really like that. I like the idea. He certainly doesn't have a problem with roughing people up, which seems like a pretty good... Also, he ran into the Unluckies, and they very clearly, attacked him. So maybe he's playing both sides, and they know that. They're the only ones who have discovered the secret about him.
Oh, but that can't work because he talked to Crocodile on the phone, and Crocodile should have recognized his voice otherwise.
That's certainly true. Although you'd think that opening up with his own voice, unmasked, and saying, "Welcome to the shitty restaurant," you really think that Crocodile would have immediately noticed that it wasn't Mr. 3.
That's true also. I'm just trying to come up with a reason why he hasn't ran into most of the Brokeworks people other than plot.
Why, Curtis, do you think that's potential foreshadowing?
No, it's 3 shadowing. I'm sorry.
How could you see if somehow you had a time machine, you were sent back in time,
Yeah.
and Oda had written all of the manga up until this very point, everything that we've seen,
Yes.
and then somehow, through some strange set of circumstances, he passed away and you were nominated for some reason of continuing the manga, where would you take the fact that they haven't seen Sanji? How could that be useful to the Straw Hats?
Useful to the Straw Hats and not weird like my theory that the entire restaurant was actually ran by Brokeworks. I'm expanding my theory.
Save it for Fanfic Friday.
Useful. I mean, it means like he could go around shopping and that. And it really is probably just plot related because otherwise they get to the town. Well, none of us can go do anything because people recognize us everywhere we go.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't remember exactly how everything plays out, which is funny because this is one of my favorite arcs, but I remember the big moments, not the minor moments. So I'm not going to call this spoilers. I could very easily see Mr. 3 going up to Crocodile and being like, "These are the people I saw," and he cycles through the different faces, but
You mean
Sanji's...
Mr. 2.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's what I mean. But Sanji's face isn't there, and so Crocodile's like, "These are the people we're looking for," and nobody's looking for Sanji.
Yep.
Okay. I like those theories. We're going to have to see how that plays out. I will say that there is... It's not just convenient for them. It plays out in a way at some point throughout this arc before we get to the end of it.
So you said this arc is 11 episodes long for the podcast, meaning it's like 40-something episodes long in real life. Maybe Sanji, to infiltrate, becomes the chef for Crocodile, and a bunch of those episodes are just him making meals.
I love that. What if they don't have to fight Crocodile at all? What if they turn him to the side of good through the power of tasty food?
Or they just poison his food and he dies.
Hey, Sanji would never.
And then they can...
Not even once.
Yeah, don't even joke about that, man. What, are you going to say that Zoro's going to...
No, but they could make, like... They could make crocodile shoes out of crocodile.
That was a short walk for a dusty drink of water. A gross, like, from the lagoon, you don't want to drink that drink of water.
Is this your new response?
This is going to be my new response. Okay, so for those who don't understand my very obscure reference joke, it's only obscure because I've changed it. In How I Met Your Mother, there was an episode where Ted goes a little crazy because, let's admit it, he was crazy to begin with. And he goes through a long mental process to get to a conclusion. And someone goes, wow, that was a long walk for a short drink of water. And so now I'm going to compare things to how long was the walk and how good was the drink of water. So like a cool, crisp, refreshing glass of water, best. If it's like the dank, whatever smelly water I was just describing, that's no good. It's my way of saying... that joke was bad.
So, what else do we got in Alabasta?
Okay, no, we got one other thing. Wait. Okay, so in these episodes, we get a long, drawn-out explanation of the structure of Baroque Works. We find out that number agents 13 and above have a male agent who report directly to Crocodile, and they all have female partners. Except... for Mr. 2. Mr. 2 works alone. What's up with that, Curtis? We might get more Mr. 2, but at this point in time, why would you assume?
Because he's the best spy.
Okay.
So he would have to have someone else with him who can also disguise themselves like that.
Okay.
Which you could find somebody who could disguise themselves through more ordinary means and like kind of work out, but I think he would probably work better by himself. It also might be a personality thing, but just from a practicality, like his powers work best if he is on his own.
Yeah, to be clear, if you haven't seen these episodes in a while, or you haven't seen them at all, the first scene where we properly get Mr. 2, he's just beating the shit out of one of the members of Baroque Works because he was told to go to this place and kill Mr. 3. He's arrived at that place and no Mr. 3. And so he takes the frustration out on something, and he's very, very fabulous and extra and flamboyant to the point where, like you said, he might not work well with other people. Mm-hmm. I will say... because he can clone people, you're saying that maybe this other person couldn't go undercover very well. He doesn't change his clothes. So if I had some kind of a weird time machine and I was in charge of writing the story and I could change like one or two things, he could have a partner who ate the quilt fruit or something dumb like that, and their whole job would be to change his wardrobe so he would be even more incognito.
Or they're just like a really fast seamstress.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they could be like Miss Golden Week, who didn't have any devil fruit powers but happened to have a skill set that was still perfect for her partner.
I mean, it's also possible that his gender isn't really defined, because if you can change your body that easily, I mean, it might not mean as much to you, right? And like they do have very like it's a male female like partnership for every pair.
Yep.
So maybe it's like, well, I guess you're just on your own sort of thing.
Small spoilers. Ding, 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 ding. Circle gets the square.
Yeah,
that's exactly it. I believe in the Japanese version, or maybe it's a scene we haven't gotten to yet, but he says something about how ambiguous is his favorite word. Mm. And he's dressed a bit like a ballerina and he has makeup on, but he also clearly has the hairy legs that we often associate with men. I'm not saying that those gender roles are good or whatever, but for Japan, especially since this was early 2000s, not as progressive as current day, he's definitely meant to be, haha, it's funny because he's a guy, but he also kind of dresses like a girl, and it is definitely a he. He is a man.
Yeah.
But he's just a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? androgynous. He's a bit androgynous.
Well, they actually make a comment in there about how he speaks like a woman, which I think you said on the during the episode that had like significance in Japanese.
I'm pretty sure that in Japanese he uses like female pronouns, and he uses the female versions of a lot of different words. I would have to look it up to be 100% sure, but when Vivi says he talks like a woman, I believe that's what she means.
Yeah, there's a movie where a woman is inside of a man's body and vice versa. It was an anime, and the way that they almost give away themselves is they use the wrong pronoun, and it doesn't translate very well to English, but they put the little note in the subtitles. They're like, just so you know, this is what's going on. And so it's the same thing with him. It'd be like if I spoke Old English, ye and thee and stuff, you'd be like, you're talking kind of funny. It's that same sort of thing. The way he talks in Japanese is people go, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, fantastic. We also get another great scene in Alabasta that I think we might have forgotten about, but we see Crocodile in action. We see Crocodile acting as the hero of Alabasta, and we get a little bit more detail on that whole 7 Warlords of the Sea situation. So Curtis, as our resident summarizer, why don't you tell us what happens in that scene? Yeah,
let me summarize. I was going to make it into a longer word than it is, but I couldn't come up with anything. Let me summarize this for you. So when he fights the pirates, he gets stabbed.
Many times.
Yes. Doesn't flinch. And at the end, there are no stab wounds. But what he does in between is he summons a sandstorm, and it seems to dry out and basically mummify all the people. I mean, they're not like wrinkly mummy, but they're like buried in the sand, and obviously all of them died. Mm-hmm. Just the bad guys though, not the bystanders. I
believe we also saw a couple of apples get kind of like drawn out and withered, like they'd been.
Yeah. And so in a previous episode, we saw him dry out like a flower or a fruit or something. Initially, I thought he could just wick moisture away. I'm thinking he is a sand equivalent of Smoker.
Okay. Strange that his name wouldn't be Sandy in that case.
Well, yeah, but if he was Sandy, he'd have to be a squirrel. That's why. Joke. Yeah, we're just gonna keep doing that now.
Today is the day where we bring out all of the reference jokes.
Yeah, if you don't know every single piece of popular culture that we have ever seen, if our pasts have not overlapped 100%. Then you're just going to be lost.
Yeah, when I say that Crocodile was hired by the world government to stop all the pirates that were coming through, clearly that is a reference to Rugrats. And if you don't get that, just get off of my show. That's right, listeners. You're all on my show, and now you are being told to get out if you don't understand my weird humor.
Now answer our question, listeners. No, so my thought is that he is probably made out of sand, similar to how Smoker is made out of smoke, where he's kind of like smoke if he wants to be, but solid if he doesn't want to be. Mm-hmm. That would explain why he could get stabbed and not get wounded. And I think it would explain... So it would definitely explain the sandstorm. I think it would explain the drying out. I think what he would be able to do is wick moisture away from things. Mm-hmm. Like sand or salt. I mean, maybe he's salty. I don't know. Maybe
They're
that's
all
it.
salty. They're sailors, Jim.
Maybe, yeah, he is a salty pirate, salty warlord of the sea. But
and the other 7 warlords could be different flavor profiles. The sweet warlord of the sea, the sour warlord. Mihawk would definitely be sour.
Which one would be the edamame, Joel?
Yeah, which one would be edamame?
But yeah, I think that's it. That's my guess on what his power is, because that's how he fights too. By the way, I mean that's the end of the fight is he dries everyone out.
He beats them easily, just within like a couple of seconds, and it's pretty great.
And then he takes. What does he take?
He takes a bag, but I don't know if I saw him put stuff into a bag. It just showed him carrying as he walked away. I assume treasure. I assume he takes a cut or something of the pirates that he beats.
I mean, that might be it. I just assumed he took the pirates as proof that he defeated them.
Oh, maybe. I do not know, and it's not relevant. In 3 episodes, we don't get, oh, this is my secret weapon operated with the thing that I got from whatever city that was. I think that was Nonaha.
The secret is he actually grinds them into a fine powder, and that's what dance powder is.
Oh, it's made of people.
No, just pirates. They're not people, Joel.
Oh, okay, that's right. They don't count.
You know what we forgot to mention?
Okay.
Did we explain the dance powder thing?
Nope. We haven't gone to it.
Oh, my bad.
No, go
Hey,
ahead.
Kat, do you want to tell us about dance powder?
I'd love to. All right, so Luffy and them get to Alabasta, and Luffy's immediately running off looking for food, because of course he is. And he gets lost in the middle of the desert and finds a house. He goes to the house and he finds some powder. The powder isn't edible, so he burns it up in the fire. And this man comes out and goes, "What the heck? That was my treasure!" And they fight, and then it starts to rain, and the man explains that dance powder is this powder that can make rain happen.
And there's a scientific explanation for it. He explains it to Luffy, but in one ear, out the other. And it's sped up because we're trying to hear it from Luffy's point of view.
Right.
Anyways.
It really doesn't matter. The best part of that scene was that the guy said, "Don't mention this to anybody. Dance powder is illegal." And so Luffy got in his face and went, "Oh, so you're a criminal, are you?" And Luffy ends up leveraging this as a way to get free food from the man.
Mm-hmm.
And then after he's eaten, the man goes, "So you're not going to tell anybody, right? Because I fed you?" And Luffy goes, "Oh, I wouldn't have been able to tell anyone anyway. I'm a pirate after all." And he walks away laughing. And it's so good. I didn't know Luffy was capable of being that sneaky. Like, that was a Nami moment.
We've always said that Luffy is psychologically manipulative, and now he's truly honing his craft. His time in the Grand Line has taken him to the next level. Speaking of, maybe that's what Crocodile's power is. Maybe... So Nami has this weird ability to sense the weather way better than we can even with modern technology. She doesn't just know that a storm front's coming, she knows exactly what direction it's coming from. Maybe Crocodile is the next level of her abilities, where he can't just sense where the sandstorms are going to come from, he can conjure them. So maybe he is Nami from the future, and she'll learn his techniques as they continue to battle him.
That explains why they're both so beautiful.
The people in, I think it's Nonohana, is the city where they've landed. They want Crocodile. Every man, woman, and child was looking at him being like, "He's the savior! Oh my god, he's here! It's Crocodile!" I personally don't see the appeal myself. There are certain male characters I can be like, yeah, they are sexy. Mihawk, very sexy. Sanji, of course, he's my boy. Crocodile doesn't really do it for me. I think his hair looks too greasy.
Do you want to weigh in before I explain this?
I'm kind of on Joel's side. I mean, I get the general, like, he's generally handsome, but not in a like, oh yeah, like I'm a little bit gay right now, what sort of way, right? Like not like
you're talking about yourself. I thought you were describing him for some reason. Go on.
Oh no. I mean, like, it's not like I'm a straight man, but yeah, I like him, sort of the way, right?
All right. Well, from a female perspective, first of all, he's got those mob boss vibes, and I think every woman has a little bit of like, oh, they're a mob boss, you say. Dangerous.
Okay.
So
he has prospects.
He's prospecting for gold in them hills. I don't know if that joke makes any sense whatsoever.
I get the connection that your brain made. It was a fun little trip we took.
So you're saying that he's the next level up from like a biker gang sort of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So there's that. But also, like, he's kind of beefy. Like, he's a muscular dude. He's large. You get the impression that he could pick you up. You're like, I'm walking down the street with him, and some guy approaches me, and he's being all smooth. This Crocodile guy, if he were my boyfriend, he could just punch the crap out of that
If
other
you were
weirdo.
laying next to him in bed, and he rolls over in his sleep, because we can't all control what we do in our sleep, he could instantly take out an eye with that hook. He can't even hug you.
Maybe he takes it off when he sleeps.
That's what I was gonna say.
Are you sure it detaches?
No. You know what I would do? If I somehow found a way to woo Crocodile, I would take, like, a cube of foam, and I would just, boop, right on the end of the hook.
Or what you do is you make like a little sock for it that's got like a little like panda bear on the
cute.
tip.
Yes, we give his hook a puppet.
Okay. I do want to say, for anyone out there who's paying attention, we have now gotten 2 of the pirate stereotypes fulfilled. Chef Zeph, Sanji's father figure, had the peg leg, and now Crocodile has shown up, and we have confirmation that he has a hook for a hand. You made a joke at some point, Curtis, about someone having a hook. I think it was Morgan, replacing the axe, and maybe he replaced it with a hook. I wanted to spoil it so bad, but no, we've now gotten 2 of those other ones. I'd say the only ones we're missing are Parrot on the shoulder and Eye Patch.
Yeah.
The other 2 big ones.
And as you have mentioned on air before, Oda has explicitly said he's waiting for the right time to introduce a character with an eye patch.
900 chapters in, we still haven't seen it.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry to burst your bubble. Now you immediately know if a character ever shows up with an eye patch. You're like, filler, I know it. I name you for what you are, demon back.
Did any of these episodes feel like filler?
No. I mean, so it's not like... We basically got resolution from the Drum Island. We got exposition in the middle, and we got, like, introduction and setup on Alabasta, but not completely, just some. So it's not filler, but it's not like the most exciting parts of the story yet.
I will say, and I don't think this is true, but I do think the stuff with Chopper and the camel felt a little bit like filler, where he passes out and then a camel picks him up and drops him off in the middle of the desert again, and then he just finds his friends.
I could see that being filler. I don't know off the top of my head. Spoilers, we see that camel again. It has a name. I know that camel.
He's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. So, we did find out that Chopper can talk to animals.
Oh, yeah.
Because he is part animal.
And they all speak the same language, too, just like how all humans speak the same language, clearly.
It's very convenient for everybody on the island. Well, so they all speak the same language, but apparently there's French because the Bon Clay counts in French, right?
Oh, that's true. Yep.
But anyways, so he speaks
Sanji's attacks are also in French, in case you haven't noticed.
Yeah. That's a good point. I forgot about that. So Chopper, when he escapes from... So there's a whole little bit where he gets heat stroke, and so he finds some shade, but the shade is in the back of a truck like a carriage.
Caravan, yep.
That belongs to this rebel group, and he's trying to get away, and he sneaks out on the back of this camel, and at the end, he talks to the camel. He's like, "Why did you help me?" And he's like, and the camel apparently responds, "Oh, no reason. I'm just cool like that." It was great.
It is a pretty interesting personality to give a camel. I don't think I would go that route personally if I had a talking camel character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
So I got something unrelated to these episodes.
Right.
So off mic a while ago, I was complaining about the lack of consistent physics in this very magical universe.
Okay.
Specifically with Wapol being able to just eat a bunch of stuff and not have the matter go anywhere.
Yep.
I have a theory.
Okay.
A bunch of people. So this is a devil fruit power. Someone ate the LSD. Not the LSD devil fruit, just the LSD.
Sure.
This is all a fever dream of one person on LSD.
Curtis, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you also subscribe to the ashes in a coma theory of Pokemon?
That's awesome! I didn't know that was a theory.
Yeah, I think that's the original version of the coma theory that I ever heard, because in the first episode there's the big bolt of lightning, and so everything after that was in, he was in a coma.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like Pokemon aren't real, they're just animals sort of thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, you were talking about the lack of physics and you think that someone had... I can confirm that is in fact what happened. The person who ate the LSD is known as Ichiro Oda, and he's a genius. We love him.
Wait, if I eat the LSD...
No. We are not endorsing the use of illicit substances on this podcast. We're not going to get into our political views, whether any of us are libertarian and would perhaps think that everyone should be free to govern themselves, and so long as you're not hurting one. No. Firm stance. We're standing on the side of the law on this show about pirates. Oh my god, we're the Marines. Oh no.
You would be, though. Like, I've said this off mic before, if we lived in the One Piece world, you would 100% either be a normal citizen or a Marine.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're protecting the people.
Most of us would be.
Yeah.
I'd be a
the thing.
pirate. Pirates are about freedom.
You would be...
I'd run off to the sea.
Spoilers! We're gonna talk about this in 600 episodes.
Okay, I guess I'm done with that bit now.
The other thing that happened that you were complaining about on mic several times is that you're looking for real pirates that conform to our historical standards, and the people that Crocodile one-shotted were that stereotypical pirate.
They're like attacking this
They're
town.
ruffians that show up, they just attack straight off, they're taking all the jewels, they're taking all the food, they go in there, they grab the Dalmatians, they put them in a bag, they're out of there. That's another reference joke. I don't remember the comedian's name.
As opposed to like a lot of the pirate crews we see are kind of more like gangs where like they don't show up and just like wreck the place. They show up and like, we're just gonna kind of go drink in the bar and, you know, hang out, and then if stuff gets bad then we'll get into a fight sort of thing, right?
I agree that if you choose to focus on certain pirate crews, that is the impression that you will get. There is some really creepy, crazy stuff that happens later. Not shown, too violent to be shown in a manga for kids, but there is mention of crucifixion. That one pirate in particular does to all of his victims. He doesn't do it because they piss him off. He does it, quote unquote, just for fun, and that's one of them. There is actual pirating on this show.
Fun.
Okay, Curtis, today we don't have a traditional sponsor as we've had many weeks now on the show. It's that time of year again, obviously, when there's a collision of all sorts of different holidays. You've got the presents, you've got the turkeys, you've got the menorahs, and there's probably many other holidays that I personally don't know much about, that sort of thing. But, you know, we here at King of the What Now, we want to wish everyone who's listening to us a happy 25th of Thanksgiving. It's
Happy 25th of Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes, or a merry 25th of Thanksgiving, if that's more of your speed. Doesn't really matter. It's a wonderful holiday that we all love to celebrate. It's near and dear to our heart. You've got the pumpkin pie, you've got the fireworks, you've got the light display, you've got the disco ball. Those are all light-oriented type of things.
Yeah, you got the human sacrifice.
Yes, always a popular part of the thing. You have that 1 hour when the spiritual world and the physical world and the astro world all collide together. Your chakras are briefly illuminated, and you can communicate with animals. Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful, magical time of the year. And of course, we all remember from our childhood the story of Santa, Rudolph, and a Thanksgiving turkey, and for some reason Peter the Rabbit all getting sucked into Thanksgiving 25th land, where they meet not Jack Sparrow, Jack Skellington, and they work together to save the wonderful holiday that is Thanksgiving 25th. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, yeah, we didn't have any kind of companies reach out to us. We had a few. We're very popular, you know. But we asked them to respect this time of year, and we just want to wish everyone a happy or merry Thanksgiving 25th. And, hey, remember, it's about having fun. It's about friends. It's about family. But it's about doing that in a safe way. Please be careful with what you consume and what sort of activities you choose to do after potentially celebrating the holidays.
Yeah. Watch your fingers around the fireworks, and watch your souls around the demons and the evil spirits during that 1 hour. You know, they like to snatch those. It can be very painful.
Yeah, that's why many people have taken to wearing masks, but the efficacy of them is up to some debate. So, you know, just kind of do what you think you need to do to keep yourself safe. I personally will be sleeping in bed with the chainsaw for that 1 hour. What could possibly go wrong? So, to reiterate, we want to wish you all a happy 25th of Thanksgiving, everyone.
Okay, so I think we're about done with all of the major plot points from these episodes. We need to circle back, and we need to talk about some stuff that I'm going to tell you right here and right now is important. Some of it you will have realized yourself is important. Some of it, maybe not as much so. Dr. Kureha sees the wanted poster for Luffy, and she looks at it, and it's Monkey D. Luffy, and she turns to Dalton, and she says, "Have you heard of Gold D. Roger?" And he says, "Don't you mean Gold Roger?" Kathryn, you already pointed that out. We're circling back to that,
Because why would she take notice of Gold D. Roger and bring him up after seeing Monkey D. Luffy? And she also says he's traveling with someone who has the will of D. And I've already forbidden all dick jokes on this, okay? Because that's not appropriate. This is a very interesting bit of world building.
And I agree. I will say, in my head, I legitimately had it recorded as the will of the D, which would have precipitated more jokes. So I'm happy you said it.
I guess you could say they're looking for a certain D.
But we know that there's at least 2 of them. It's just going to be a D party. D's all around.
I just wanted to make the certain joke.
Today's episode of One Piece has been brought to you by the letter D.
So, the will of D. Joel, tell us why that's important.
Yes, Joel, tell us.
All right. I can't get into spoilers. We play hard and fast with the rules, but this is not the only time that we're going to see the will of D. The fact that everyone in the world... Okay, so let me ask you this question. I'm going to try to guide you to the answer. Between Dr. Kreha and Dalton, what would you say is the most obvious difference between them? About what you know about them?
Kreha seems very, she seems more independent.
Okay.
It's like Dalton is more tied to the community
government?
and that around him. Whereas Kreha, I mean, she's
the
ties.
crazy witch that lives in the forest.
Yeah, she's like the oddball.
Okay, I agree with that. That's not the most obvious difference between them.
I think I know what you're going for.
Yeah.
Kreha is old AF.
Yes, right. Dr. Kreha is 139, and Dalton is...
Well, yeah. Okay. I didn't think that was going to be an important...
Well, no, because, okay, so here's... Spoiler alert! The only reason
Should I plug my ears?
The only reason that she knows that his name was Gold D. Roger is because she was around before the government started telling everyone that his name was Gold
Roger. Yeah.
And let me ask you this. Why would the government want to change someone's name if their old name was associated with something called the Will of D?
I mean, it must have some sort of significance to people. Though it would have to be something they tried really hard to suppress and were fairly successful at, because Dalton had never heard of it, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it sounds to me like it is related to some sort of threat to the world government, and that is why they changed the name. They didn't want people to realize it. I don't know if it's like a coded message for people or
Maybe they
what.
didn't want people to rally around this D.
Yeah.
So, the Will of D will come back again and again and again. 900 chapters in, we have a better idea what it is. We don't know for sure, but the Will of D is going to be part of the climax of the entire story of One Piece. The fact that the main character is a member of the D clan is how you refer to people with the D initial. Hugely, majorly important.
Well, and it's interesting that she specifically calls out the Will of D, because in our podcast episode last week, we talked about how inherited will is a huge theme throughout the One Piece series. So with Dr. Hiruluk, they kind of planted the seed that you can have such a strong will that the people who care for you inherit it, and your dreams and your will are passed on. And so now that idea has been inceptionized, we're introduced to this big overarching concept, the Will of D. And it'll be interesting to see, like, where did it start? What is it exactly that they're trying to pass on? Has it been passed on through a ton of people, or was Goldie Roger the first? Those are questions.
Questions to keep in the back of the mind. Right now, I think we've covered literally the one sentence about it that we've seen so far.
Yes, and I'm interested to learn more. Something we need to make sure we don't forget to mention before the end of this podcast. One character we met that we did not mention was the person who gave the wanted poster to the soldier who gave it to Kureha, which is a character that I know that you guys really like. Ace.
I may have screened his name.
Ace.
Exactly like that. So I actually have 3 bullet points on this sticky note that you can't see, and the next one is Ace in all capital letters, and yeah, I think that's 8 letter A's and 7 letter E's.
Can you pronounce that for me?
Ace! I don't know how to pronounce the X or E's. The point is that he is fabulous. Okay, so I was talking about Crocodile. I'm not attracted to Ben. I see Crocodile and I go, whatever. He's got that jacket, I guess. But Ace, man, heck yeah. I love him. He's only been in 2 seconds of an episode, and I am hyped for him. I am ready for him. Can you tell me whether we're going to see Ace soon or not, according to what he said?
Yes, we are going to see him soon. I don't know episode wise, but in the Alabasta arc, because so when we see him, he is on Drum Island before the Straw Hats get there, and he is there looking for the Blackbeard or for Blackbeard. Yep. When he finds out he missed him, he tells the person he's talking to, "All right, have you seen someone in a straw hat? If they come by, tell them I will meet them in Alabasta in 10 days.
Or no, I will wait for 10 days in Alabasta, but I'll be waiting for them.
Yeah. So, but I mean, 10 days from that day, he would be in Alabasta. Mm-hmm. So we will see him soon. The one tidbit right at the end of that's not important, but it's funny, is so he starts walking away and he told the guy that, and then someone runs up from the background and yells, "Wait, stop that man. He didn't pay for his meal." And then Ace is like, just runs away and he's like, "Don't forget to tell him what I said."
Ace is wonderful, and he makes a strong impression when he first shows up, and he's going to continue to make strong impressions every time you see him. He is, and again, we play hard and fat, or we play loose with the what counts as spoilers and what isn't. Keep your eye on Ace. He is one of the major interesting characters of this show. He alludes to so much more of the world that we haven't seen yet, for reasons that I can't get into.
Is he an ace pirate?
Actually, when he was his own pirates are called the Spade Pirates, which has to do with, again, his name Ace, and it's the spade.
He's the ace of spades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a whole song about him.
Probably. I'm not familiar with it. Let's move on to the next topic, because, holy crap, we've got our second dragon sighting. We had a flashback with Vivi at Reverie, and the king there says something about, this guy dragon is going to be a threat. In 5 to 6 years, he will be the world's biggest problem. And that's basically it. There's no more information that you can get from that scene, but I just want to point out that flashback, I think, was about 8 years ago because of how young Vivi was. I think she's 18 now, and I think she looked like she was about 10 in the flashback.
I think they actually said she was 10.
Yeah, exactly. So they said this guy Dragon's going to be a big threat, and where have we seen Dragon? He's the world's most wanted man, is how he was introduced when Smoker saw him.
Yeah.
Holy crap! He's going to be so important when he shows up. Oh, and you're just going to have to wait. You're not going to see him for a long time. So, in terms of sagas, we will get the next mention of Dragon, as far as I know, in 2 more full sagas.
Holy
it
crap.
takes a long time.
That's a long time, Joel.
It is a long walk for the world's best drink of water. Okay.
Can I at least get a beer?
No, absolutely
not. It has
not.
to be a drink of water?
Your beer is how you would run your perfect country, but right now we're not focused on running a country. We're focused on the man who, I don't know, destroys countries, maybe?
Okay, well then coffee.
Okay.
I guess. I don't know. Something more than water, man. Give me something good.
Most refreshing. What if it was water from the Fountain of Youth?
Okay, that's fine. I will take this long walk for a drink of water from the Fountain of Youth.
Okay. Now, this is my last point, and honestly, it's the best point. All right, Ace is great. Dr. Hero Luck is great. Mention of the Blackbeard Pirates is great. There's trouble brewing there. This last point's really important. Blackbeard, him being mentioned again. Oh, that's interesting. Ace showing up. That's very interesting. Nami and Vivi in dancers' outfits. That appeals to a lot of people. The clone fruit. Zoro having a tactical mind about how can we defeat this devil fruit user. Chopper joining the crew. That's all well and great. But the most important thing that we have yet to talk about, in Alabasta, there is a sacred animal that guards them from the ocean. It is a sea cat, and it looks like one of those Lucky Neko statues that you can get in Japan, and I love that monster so much.
It's great. They wanted to kill it for meat, and Vivi wouldn't let them because it's sacred.
Sanji, Zoro, and Luffy were about to, and she just smacks them. There was a lot of physical comedy in these episodes, because Sanji also smashed their heads together when they were eating food without him realizing. Vivi knocks their heads together when they were fishing with his duck as bait, or her duck, sorry, I got the pronouns mixed up. And then she also beat the crap out of them when the sea cat showed up. I did write down that the sea cat is sacred to Alabasta because I really do think that's interesting. They don't go into religion a lot in One Piece. Mm-hmm. There is mentions of God. Luffy and Zoro are known atheists. It's canon that they don't believe in God and whatever. But the fact that there's a sacred animal in Alabasta, that feels like foreshadowing to me. It feels like world building that Oda put in there, and the cat hasn't shown up again. It's not like, oh, that cat is sacred. It shows the cat attacking a bad group of pirates, but Luffy was allowed to go past. So that's very interesting, and I don't remember them going into more detail, but I want them to go into more detail because that's interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's it. Does anyone have any final thoughts?
One brief one.
Okay.
We briefly saw a fleet of Baroque works ships. Yeah. And Joel pointed out, for a secret underground organization, they have a very large fleet with Baroque works plastered all over their sails. They advertise a lot.
Yeah, I don't get it. And supposedly we found out in the episode where they gave us an outline of all the different Baroque works agents and how their structures works. We found out that a lot of them just hang out near Reverse Mountain and pick off the pirates that are coming through, but it to me doesn't feel like there would be that many people coming from the Four Blues. It doesn't feel like it's that common of an occurrence, even though we're in the great age of pirates. It didn't occur to me that that's how they would be raising their funds. It doesn't feel like it would be enough.
My final thought is more of a question. Is that all right?
Sure.
Okay, so now we've met 4 of my very handsome anime husbands. We've got Zoro, Smoker, Crocodile,
and Sanji.
Ace.
Okay.
Sanji's not one of my husbands. He's good. He's not a husband.
Okay.
Can you guys help me come up with a definitive ranking for who is best husband? I mean, Joel is best husband, but of the anime ones that I just listed.
They have to be animated.
Yeah. Ace doesn't count. We don't know enough about him.
I can't rank him.
It's pretty good. And I have 4 knowledge. So if I were to say Ace was number 1 or number 4 or anywhere in there, it would probably be influenced by what I know of them. Zoro, between him and Smoker, I'd say that those are the only 2 that are really fleshed out. I'd give it to Zoro because he is willing to put his determination and his ambition on the line far beyond anything Smoker's ever done. I could kind of see Smoker potentially thinking of cutting off his leg. Zoro went through it. He got about halfway through before he got tired and decided to let Luffy take care of things from there.
I would actually say Smoker over Zoro.
Okay.
I feel like a conversation with Zoro would be like, cool, I'm going to go over here and work out now. It'd basically be, remember in the 2nd season of The Good Place?
Yeah.
Where the fake soulmate for whatever her name was,
Eleanor,
constantly just like whenever she starts to figure things out, it's like, I'm gonna go work out, and like obnoxiously just constantly gone. That would be Zoro. I think Smoker would be a more interesting person to be around. I don't really know enough about Crocodile or Ace, but based off of what I've seen thus far, I guess if I drank all 4 of them, I would probably put Ace at the top just because he seems the most interesting.
I'm gonna, now that I think about it, because I was only thinking about their personalities as characters, not as interacting with them on a personal level. Ace also goes number one because you'd have fun with him.
Yeah.
He would take you in all sorts of wild, crazy adventures.
Man, I am shallow. I totally expected you two to rank them based on handsomeness. I appreciate the thought that you put into this. You're excellent boys.
I mean, I wasn't gonna put Crocodile at the bottom because he has greasy hair, so.
He
Yeah.
doesn't have greasy hair. He has slicked back hair, and it's sexy.
Anyone who thinks that Crocodile is the most interesting villain is wrong and hasn't gotten to the true best villain of the series.
Oh,
Buggy.
clearly Buggy.
Nice. That wasn't planned, everyone, just so you know.
There's a point where Buggy loses his hat briefly, and that's pretty good. Without the hat, he's actually almost decent.
It's the big red nose, right? That's what does it.
It's just so round and voluptuous.
And with that,
That's-
do you want to cut that out?
Wait,
No, that's fine. It's totally... We
But that-
all have our things.
but no, the big red nose? That's our do-do-do-do-do. Final thought?
Thanks, everybody. Outro goes here!
In this episode, I award Dr. Hurolock the Manly Tears Badge for inciting such powerful emotions from beyond the grave. So ends the next leg of the King of the What Now adventure. We're sad to see you go, but we'll be here next week. If you crave some social interaction with us in the meantime, you can find us on all sorts of different media. We have Gmail, Patreon, and Tumblr. All of those are King of the What Pod. King of the What Pod at gmail.com, patreon.com/King of the What Pod, kingofthewhatpod.tumblr.com. Our Twitter handlers are a little bit different. You can reach me at KOTWN_pod.
And you can contact me, Curtis, at Pirate Co-host. Also, please take a moment to rate and review our podcast on whatever platform you're using to listen. Not only will this help others find the podcast, but your constructive feedback will help us improve the show as we go.
Thanks so much for giving us a listen. Until next time, follow your dreams and protect your treasure.
Remember, it doesn't need to be literal treasure.